Okay, let's go ahead and talk about music replay on the Fearless Audio Shangri-La. Again, a one dynamic 4-bell instrumenture set. It's got a perceived, just by the visual tonality, that might be similar to the IE900 in that it's got a sub bass over mid bass. It's very, very subtle and steady. That's not overly, it doesn't bloat, it's not bleeding, it's nothing like that. It comes into the mids quite similar. That's a dynamic driver versus a hybrid, but there's similarities to this set. You get to the mids around 1K where the gain is traditionally starts, because that's where it should start. And you've got, let me put up my target really quick. Let me not. Usually this is where the gain starts to go up, and it goes up anywhere between 4.5 to 10, or even then more, which are sets that are DQ'd for me because that's too much energy. This is a more subtle approach, and they're different around 3 and 4, but then they've got energy where a lot of companies kind of cut right around here, 5, 6. They give a little, maybe treat the harmonics of vocals and some other things a little bit different from other sets, maybe making them more relaxing. This set, the Fearless Shangri-La and the IE900, go the other way and kind of put late upper mid energy treble, and also they don't really precipitously roll off either one of these sets, and they do handle some things in almost exactly the same way, if not exactly, because they are a dynamic versus a hybrid. I really do like the IE900, but it's a set that on some songs, You Shook Me by Led Zeppelin, you shook me all night long, like that Robert Plant moment. On the IE900, that gets to me. On this set, that gets to me. There's a lot of stuff it does well. They do the same things less than well. Let's go ahead and talk about music. Let me back up here. Let's start with what I usually start with, which is Big Boy, Kill Jill, and talk about the triple drop and the bass guitar that follows that. More importantly, there was the Vocaloid at the intro, which is a computer-generated female voice, Hatsune Miku. On the IE900, I found that to be right on the edge of annoying. Exactly the same way that the Shangri-La is presenting that to me. It's not bad, it's not rough, it's not grainy, it's not low quality, it's just a little bit emphasized, just like the graph would indicate. And I pulled out the IE900, and they're really doing this really similar. That emphasis in that region has effects, and that is clearly being shown on the Vocaloid intro for Big Boy's Kill Jill track. The drop that comes after that is more substantial on the Shangri-La than it is on the IE900. And I don't know why, because I think the IE900 has a 7mm dynamic drive, and this has a 10. Does that make a difference? I don't know, but this hits really hard. So it does that well, and then when we get into the rest of the track, it's doing it like a champ. It got a little bit rough with the beginning right there. Next thing is Black Sabbath's Massive Reality. Sweet Leaf, I'm listening to the pulls and releases, multiple per second. The pulls are easy to discern, the releases, because the decay and the resonance of each single string that is quickly grabbed and pulled again is really hard to get. Planars do that well. The 7 Hertz does that well. The P1 that I've been mentioning for about almost 2 years now does that really well, and kind of showed me what planars can do that a lot of other sets can't do, particularly dynamic driver based. This does well, pretty much about the same as the IE900, because I got into the OCD comparison between these two sets, and I thought it did it well, about where I expect a dynamic driver to do that. So there was really no problem with that. I thought that listening to Blind Faith and Eric Clapton's guitar at the beginning, I found that to be really pleasing. If there's any good effects of that upper mid treble tuning, it's kind of makes the guitar sound really crisp and clean. It sounded that way on the IE900, which was one of its appealing points, and on this set, it did the same thing. That's an effect of tuning. I liked the way that acoustic guitars played back. Next, I want to talk about Sultans of Swings, as I usually do. As the graph would indicate, and like the IE900, this set does not push the basses closer to Mark Knopfler. They sound separated. There's a space between them. I think some people call that separation. I just don't want things to be squished together because of too much mid-bass elevation. It doesn't do that on the set. It sounds quite good. There's some sets that play Mark's voice with a kind of an energy and an organic replay that I find to be really appealing. I think that this set, along with the IE900, is a little more polite. It's not thin, but note weight might not be. I don't know if anybody's going to come and say the note weight of this set, or did they say that about the IE900 is, substantial and feels full and almost too much, but it's got that body. I didn't think that about the IE900, and I don't think that about this, and that might again be specific to how that particular sub-bass to mid tuning is, which again is quite similar. The Shangri-La's got maybe slightly a little bit more forward mids, but it's not giving it any more weight than the IE900 has. Getting back to the music. Earth, Wind, and Fire, September. There's some trumpets in this that are can be intense, and that this is a frequency range where that actually showed itself again on the Shangri-La. Played it well, played it clean. This is a set that I would predict, like I did with the S8F and the S8P that I said 2.5 years ago, those were probably the most popular ones, and I think it turned out that was the case. People that listen at generally slightly lower volumes will probably really love this set, because you're getting tons of like OCD detail, but you're not having to turn it up to get that. There's no ever moment where you feel like I'm going to turn that up a little to kind of power my way through that slight veil or haze that your brain is perceiving, because where's the edge of the notes or something like that. This is a set that you would be fine with just at a lower volume. If you turn it up, you're going to start to get the impact of stuff like the trumpets on Earth, Wind, and Fire September, which sound great. I wouldn't turn it up though, so it sounds good. It's the tuning that's showing itself. After that, I'm going to go to what I was talking about before, which is I thought that vocals sounded good. Male and female vocals on the fundamental and harmonic extension is both around 1.5 kilohertz, where it crosses over. Males could dig deeper. I thought male voices sounded better on this set than female voices. Using this album, that was something that was standing out. And also, I was listening to the T60 Modhouse Audio T60 RP Mark IIIs, and I absolutely love this set. The female vocals are an audible thing to bring up when I do the review, but I'm a huge fan of that set. After that, we're going to Led Zeppelin's first album, and a track called You Shook Me, and Robert Plant is screaming like a banshee, and it does what you think a set that is giving a little energy to upper vocal harmonics might do, and that is kind of put it in your face a little bit, whereas the gain region is kind of pushing the whole, it seems like pushing the whole vocalist forward to you. Elevating this part of the frequency response is giving it's clearly the harmonic overtones. The second part of the event is being emphasized more than the fundamental region, as it should be, but a little more pronounced than you might prefer. You Shook Me by Led Zeppelin on the first album kind of put that forward. I thought that Massive Attack, if you're into trip hop, hip-hop, trip-hop, I thought that Angel sounded really good on this, because that dynamic driver that slammed on Big Boy Kill Jill was showing itself with that drone, and it was doing it really, really cleanly, and then all the other stuff that comes in later in the track Angel was just, I thought it was brilliant. I thought something like Massive Attack, and then it brings me to the next thing, which was Metallica, Ride the Lightning. I thought that a couple tracks off of this album sounded really good. I thought For Whom the Bell Tolls and Fade to Black sounded really, really good. There's some emphasis on some of the electric guitar using distortion pedals, a little bit of overemphasis, but that's kind of giving me the live feel. So I'm not... Metallica, if you listen to metal, if you listen to Massive Attack trip hop, I would think that would be where this set shines. On my typical library, stuff like Led Zeppelin, stuff like Big Boy, stuff like Earth, Wind, and Fire, it plays it really well, but it's giving a little bit of extra energy where the graph indicates it would, and it's not bad. It's just be aware of it, and maybe you turn the volume down just a pinch. Might be the way to kind of resolve that and take away the one niggle about the tuning, and then get everything else, which is coming through fine. It really is a hybrid take on the IE900 tuning, and it's the pluses and minuses are the same. It's got a good bass. This bass hits harder than the IE900. It's got treats vocals well, though sometimes depending on the event, and sometimes instruments like trumpets. Cymbal strikes I did not address. Let me go back to Led Zeppelin, Coda. Hey, what can I do? There's many cymbal strikes. A little bit energetic. Clean, crisp, the tail, the depth of the cymbal sounds correct, but it's just a little bit energetic. And that is the Shangri-La. Do I wreck it in its price range? It's quite competitive. I think it would be more tailored for trip hop libraries, metal. People ask me a lot about stuff that plays metal well. I think this does. This will definitely put everything nice and clear. There's no veil, there's no haze, it's not slow, none of those things that will say, okay, I can't play metal because it doesn't. This would keep your eye on this. If you've got reviewers that really focus on metal, ask them about this set, because I think this would probably be right in your wheelhouse. And that is a Shangri-La. I'll probably do videos for the other two down the road. I'm preparing for 1111 right now. So that's the Fearless Shangri-La, and I'm out. Okay, this is a close-up look of Fearless's 3 new IEMs. It's been a while. I've received some stuff from them over the past couple of years, and it just wasn't ready for prime time. Very interesting company. They got a lot of stuff that I'm a big fan of. There are 3 IEMs to talk about briefly, and then I'll get into one of them today and others later. This is the Shangri-La. This is a single dynamic driver with 3 balanced armature. It comes with 3 different types of design caps. I think that these look absolutely beautiful. Cable is maybe familiar to those that have used Fearless since the collaboration with Critical. It's very nice stout with the brand on it. It's a nice thick cable. It's got the fancy Y split with their name on it, chin slider with their name on it, all the branding. It's got the plastic ear hooks. They don't cause me any trouble. Don't know if I prefer these or not. You can see inside they've got the fancy basically like driver holders and caps. The original S series, you could see the name of the item inside the IEM because it would say on the BA S6R or S8F or S8P, and I thought that was super cool. Didn't impact the sound at all. They sounded really nice. The S8P is a set that people like still today. Let's talk about the tuning profile of this real quick. This is a set that has a graph that is not... Oh, by the way, this is priced at... Shangri-La's $228, and this would be the highest driver count in this series. 1 dynamic and 4 BAs. Yeah, 1 DD, 4 BAs. Let me go ahead and take a look at the graph. I'll overlay this when I do the video. You can see that this is a graph that reminded me of something, and I went ahead and pulled it up, and it's the IE900, which is got the same sub bass, mid bass profile. The mids are reasonably similar, and then when you get to the mid, upper mids, which you usually got the gain region that usually kind of goes up, you're looking at something that is a little bit different right here. Can't see it here, I'll overlay it. Most of the energy seems to pick up around 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then fall off, but not drastically. So these they don't really sound a lot. I think these hit harder than the IE900, but I think the bass, the cleanliness and the nice trajectory that it's taking, it's not overemphasizing anything in the mid bass that's impacting mids. It's not impacting vocals, drum kits, bass guitars, nothing like that. There's a little bit of borderline fatigue energy, just like the IE900, because of where they're emphasizing the upper mids and treble. That's something that I'll talk about. So that is the Shangri-La. Very beautiful set, interesting tuning. My preference over the other 2 that I received, though the other 2 are kind of interesting too. So that's the Shangri-La. Next set is going to be the Province, and this would be a single dynamic with 2 balanced armatures. That would be this set right here. This is using one of the other caps. It's not quite as beautiful as the Shangri-La. It's got the same internal type design. This is a set that in its general tuning, I'll go ahead and lay a graph over this one as well. Province. This is a set that's probably province. Let me put the Barcelona up here. This is probably the safest tuning of the sets. So if you were to look at something and you're familiar with looking at graphs with something that doesn't have too much treble or too much bass, this would probably be the set that looks most familiar to you in that sense. There's not a lot of anything. There's not too much bass. It's elevated. The mids are, it's not really flat like a lot of the recent tunings, but it's not really impacting the replay, and the upper mid treble profile is almost matching my target curve ideally. The only issue I have with this set is there's really nothing jumping out at me as far as cymbal strikes, guitar solos, vocal quality. It's a good set. It's in a very competitive price range. Video will be coming for this, or other people will be doing videos for this. It doesn't jump out at me. The fact that the Shangri-La is the most expensive of the new Fearless, which is $228, is not why I'm going to be focusing on it. It literally is a set that kind of piques my interest just from my library standpoint, and that it's tuned kind of like a single dynamic IE900, which I am a fan of. So that's probably why I'm going to be going with the Province or the Shangri-La for my first video. So that is that set. Last one is going to be the Barcelona, and this is a set that this is one of the option caps, I believe, for the Shangri-La, the one that I showed at the beginning. It looks quite nice, actually. Looks actually really quite beautiful. It's got the same cable that comes with the other two. This one is a single dynamic and a single BA, so it doesn't have a lot going on there. I would remind people that one of my favorite Thea Audio L series is the L2 with the beryllium dynamic. I actually really like that set, and that's got 2 drivers, whereas the L4 and 5, dark, intense. More drivers doesn't mean more quality. We all know that. This could be the best. It has nothing to do with the driver count. It's just not really jumping out at me as being something like you should do a video for that. Looks nice, but it's not the one I'm going to do a video for. So that's the 3 of them up close. They're retailing now for the Province is $138. Again, that's a 1 dynamic and 2 balanced armature. The Barcelona is $118. That's 1 dynamic and 1 balanced armature. And the Fearless Shangri-La is a 1 dynamic, 4 BAs. And it looks nice, and it's got an interesting tuning, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about a little bit of music. And that's it for the new Fearless series intro. And I'm out.